Hello, Excello.
Hello, Excello Recording of Brooklyn, New York.
Who's calling?
This is Emily Vardaman Walters with the
How you get this number?
I know Hugh Pool is there. Put him on the phone if that is not him.
Hello, Emily.
Hello, Hugh Pool.
How are you?
I'm wonderful.
How'd you get this number?
I have ways of making people talk, as you well know.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Lipstick Pickup Podcast.
Thank you,
Hugh Pool.
My very first podcast.
I am so excited about this being your first, because you're a natural and you're a great conversationalist. And I hope that you're going to have to block phone numbers of people begging you to be on their podcast, because you're gonna...
You and me both.
You're quite a conversationalist, and you got a great story. So, and I can't believe this. This is an honor for my little measly amateur podcast to be your first, and I cannot wait to.
I think your podcast is great, and your theme song is off the hook. It's so good. That theme song is great.
I thank you for saying that, because I have neglected to recognize the person who provided that music for me enough.
You should recognize him right now. Who is that?
His name is Michael Weber Jr.,
Cool.
and he is a very accomplished young working musician in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
Janie's
from Ohio.
He's got a fascinating story. He comes from the business. I can't remember his exact age, but I've got T-shirts older than he is, and he is extremely accomplished. And he also has a great content page on Instagram called Guitars Are Cool, and he really knows gear.
I will follow it. I'll check him out. When we wrap it up, I'll get his name again, and I'll follow.
I was looking for some music about a year ago, about the time that I met you in person, and the stuff that he does. He worked on the Trini Lopez soundtrack. Have you seen the documentary on Trini Lopez?
But he's a young fella. He's going places. It's
a must see, especially in current America, because the story of Trini Lopez is a fascinating one. But he worked on the soundtrack. So I was having trouble finding somebody who wanted to work with me, because I'm an amateur, and it wasn't that I didn't have money to spend.
Right.
I reached out to him because he's so talented.
Cool.
And I said, would you like to do intro, outro work for me because you're so good at this? And he goes, I would be happy to do it for free.
That's awesome. And it goes through the tour de force. He's got the thing. He's got the sitar and everything, the line. It's really cool.
He's like playing 6 or 7 Dan Letro or lipstick pickup instruments on that
Did he do
track.
the voiceover too at the end?
Yeah,
lipstick.
it's all him.
That's cool. It's really cool.
He did the whole thing.
Well, he did a very good job.
So thank you for giving me an opportunity to plug our sponsors, because I don't drop ads or anything else in here, but I do like to recognize all the people who've helped me. Thank you, Michael Weber Jr.
Yeah.
I looked at something he posted this morning, and he's always going on these guitar safaris, and he's really good at it, which is why he has this amazing collection of Dan Letro instruments.
Cool.
And his content's killer. Thank you, Michael Weber Jr.
I'll check him out.
Thank you for listening, and I am so excited to have you on, because I get to talk to you about your career, which I find fascinating, and I found some things out that you and I didn't even talk about yet. Okay. And nothing seedy.
Yeah. I went and saw David Bromberg when I was a kid. Not a kid, but then whatever. Something in my 20s. I saw Bromberg when he was doing that big band. He had that band where everybody doubled on the thing. All the guitar player, fiddle player became a trumpet player, and it was just crazy band. And one of his raps I always remember. He said, I've been making music more or less for 30. No, I've been making music more or less for 30 years, more or less. And I always like that. It's my career. I've been making music more or less.
I'm going to have to steal that. Yeah. I will give you credit. It's a fascinating story, but I can't wait to tell my listeners how we met. And it's got to start, if you remember. Well, first I'm going to tell the Lipstick Pickup Podcast listeners that Hugh Pool has a recording studio, and that's considered Greenpoint.
Correct.
And Brooklyn, if you've been there, it really matters where you are. People say Brooklyn is Brooklyn. I'm like, no, Brooklyn is not Brooklyn. It's massive. It's the size of Manhattan, if not bigger.
It used to be the 4th largest city in the world.
What, Greenpoint or Brooklyn?
Brooklyn.
Yes, Brooklyn. BK.
At the beginning of Welcome Back, Kotter. Remember, it's Welcome Back, Your Dreams are Your Ticket Back. They'd drive across the Brooklyn Bridge, and there was a sign on the right that said, "Welcome to Brooklyn, fourth largest city in America."
It's true. It's true. And, I love that borough.
Me too.
And so I'm going to have to date our familiarity with each other. Of course, I knew your name because you have a distinct name, but I wasn't entirely knowledgeable about your career for a number of reasons, not other than it's just a big world.
Yeah,
And
totally. Fuck yeah. God damn it, there's so many talented people.
it's so many talented people, and you live up there, and I've lived my life down here, and there's a million reasons why I might have heard of you.
I'm happy you did.
Yes. Once I discovered Hugh Pool and his work, and I'm going to have to date it for our listeners. It really came from our mutual friend, Eric Roscoe Amble. Shout out to the great connector.
Yeah, he is. He is. He deserves
Shout out to Eric. Hey,
shout out.
Let's plug Eric. Eric Roscoe Amble.
Yeah,
Swiss Army knife of roots rock.
Yeah, he is, man. He's a kind of a getting to the point where he's an institution in that genre. That's for sure. And
he's been an institution in that genre for decades to me.
Yeah.
Because we go way back. I was a fan, then we know each other. And
I kind of missed it. I missed it, that a lot of the stuff that he did. And I met him through the studio thing. I met him through just, I don't know, studios. Yeah, I met him through studio stuff. And now he's in the same building as me. It's the Cowboy Tech is in the same building. And as you know, that's how we met, is they were doing a bunch of work on his studio. They basically destroyed they being the building had to dig down through the floor of his studio to reinforce building piers that went down, 12 feet into the ground. Mm-hmm. And so they, compensated and everything like that. But the fact is that him and Timbo and Mario had to mothball their stuff for, better part of 2 years. And I just
Do you remember what date was that?
That was like that was after the pandemic. I'm just gonna say it was 21, 22, and part of in the beginning of 23.
I was well underway in my amateur journalism career, for lack of a better word. My interest in the Stan Letro story and electric sitar, and y'all started sharing a space. I'm going to shout out again, Eric Roscoe Amble. He's not only the great connector, he knows so much, and he's also good about saying what he doesn't know. Yeah. And he taught me so much about these instruments over the last few years. And when y'all started sharing spaces, he started sending me pictures of all of your lipstick pickups, which you have several in there.
Yeah, that one's really old. I remember he sent you the one. I have a real old one.
Yeah.
And I remember he sent that. And I saw it on Instagram, and I was like, wait, that's my guitar. And wait a second, who's this lipstick, what, Emily thing? And then,
so, who are these pirates?
Yeah. And then anyway, we got connected.
We started following each other. And
I started sending you music with stuff that was recorded with the lipstick, with different lipstick pickup guitars here.
Yeah. And it's a dizzying array, too, from all of your blues incarnations. Hugh Pool is a music producer, and he himself is, we call Eric Amble the Swiss Army knife of roots rock. What are we going to call Hugh Pool? The Sawzall?
I'm a blues outsider. I'm an outsider to everything. And somehow I've managed to make a living in this business for 40 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. But so y'all were sharing a space, and we became familiar on social media, pals, and I started following some of the artists that you work with, and very interested in everything that was going on at Excello Recording. And I love Greenpoint. I've been to Cowboy Technical at least a couple of times. I spent a lot of time around there, and I love that area of Brooklyn. And I told you, at some point, I want to come see you in your studio and see your guitars, because at that point I was doing taking pictures, documenting. And and it was December of last year, Mr. Poole, that I came to see you. Can you believe it was a year? It was nearly
That's crazy.
A year ago.
That kind of seems right, but at the same time, it kind of seems right.
I had an occasion to go up there for, it's always fun to go to New York anytime. And December is interesting. And I wanted to go up there, shout out to Pete Donnelly. I wanted to see my friend Pete Donnelly play with Mike Viola, and it's an indulgent trip. But I was going to be
Cool.
staying around Brooklyn and playing around Brooklyn. And I told you I want to come to Excello and see your recording studio. And the reason why I wanted to come there is being raised in the South. One reason why I love New York is the economy, the way you guys know how to work the real estate market. That you and Eric even worked out this deal that you were able to help him still keep some balls in the air.
Oh yeah, no, we was great.
That's
It was
peak New
great.
York.
We didn't. Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I had my own move. The old studio I had to move in 2015, and I didn't have a space, and so everything. It's a lot of stuff, man. I had 2,500 square feet, big desk, and tons, tape machines and whatever. And I didn't have a space, and I had to put everything in mothball. I had to store everything, and decommissioning a studio that was built in 1993 in 2015, and I didn't have a place to move, and I was too young to pack it, and I just everything, every time my whole life, anytime I made money, I'd get the next thing, get the next thing. It's a disease anyway. So whatever, I just found myself, and that was all fresh, and Eric, those guys aren't in exactly the same situation, but I saw them. I went in, their door was open. I was coming up to the studio. I'm on the fourth floor, and the door was open. I gave a little knock. And I went and they were in there, and they're sitting there with measuring tapes, and they're turning their console on the side and bubble wrapping it and crating stuff up. And I just was like, balls. This just, I was just thinking to myself, this is just a sucky thing to have to do. And I talked to him for a while and commiserated. And then I went home, and I woke up the next morning, and I was just like, there's no reason I couldn't share my space. You know what I mean? I was like, it's not like I'm there every day, or I need to be there every day. I got a rig at my house.
Yeah.
I can edit vocals and do acoustic guitar and shakers and stuff at my house. I don't need to be at the and so then I just, I don't know. At one point, I think I went to the happy hour at the Keg and Lantern and had a couple of beers, and then I was walking, and I was like, God dang it, I'm calling him. And I called him on the phone, and we talked for a while. And he goes, Are you serious? And I said, I think so, dude. Like, why wouldn't it work? If you have pieces of gear that you love, just bring them. I don't care. Whatever if you make a list of stuff that you have to have in my room, that's cool. And whatever it is, I got plenty of patch points, because my old studio was so big and this one's small. There's tons of, you can easily put things into the patch bay. And then he talked to Timbo and Mario, and a couple days later, and they're like, we want to come up and meet. I'm like, awesome. And we had one conversation, shook hands, and never spoke about it again. And it was perfect. No problems.
So it's a wonderful story, and it's very New Yorkers working together.
Yeah, but it's also, there's so many freaking morons in this business. And like, and it's like everything, my thing is like, my motto has always been casual, but never unprofessional. And I mean that in a fucking really serious way.
Standards.
Standards. Casual, but never unprofessional. And everything is cool. I don't give a shit what anybody does. But like, where our interests cross, and the thing, like, don't fuck me up. Do you know what I mean? And and like that, we never even had to have that conversation, because they're exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And so,
veterans of the business.
Yeah, the trash should be taken. The trash should be taken out. The console's zeroed. Everything's nice.
Yeah.
It smells nice. It looks nice. I never had to.
Worked out great.
Really, it was.
And I got to see from the pictures, that Eric was sending me, but that's why I ambushed you and said, I want to come to your studio. And I can't remember the exact date, but you'd been working there, and it was an afternoon, and it was freezing cold. And just the building, you look at that building, and you would never guess that there's recording studios in there.
There's like, probably, there could be, I don't know, there's definitely a dozen.
Yeah. It's so New York.
It's 231 Norman Avenue. It's a little plug for this thing.
Yeah.
They're commercial condominiums. There's no living here.
Mm-hmm.
It's largely because of this. I think largely because of this one guy named Eric Braun. I think it was largely because of him. I think he had one of the first studios in here. And then I'm not going to take any credit for anything, but I think things got a little bit maybe more serious when I came, because Excello had been in business for so long, and because like I have like real, I came in with like a British, a 50 input British console. There were a lot of places in here that were based around computers.
Yeah.
and which is cool.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different when you get like a giant, beautiful, thing. It's just kind of like, and tape machines. It's kind of like, oh wow, wait a minute, this is like a studio, and then a couple of people changed their formats, and also I didn't think about it at the time at all because it's just how I grew up. But I realized after I saw some people with a little bit more money than me kind of copying or sort of like taking hints from the vibe, and I realized, oh yeah, the console looks way more interesting in Instagram photos than a computer. You know what I mean? And it's not like, I mean, a really good one is
What?
yeah, it looks better than a freaking computer. No, it's like no one's going to get, oh, look at my new Mac. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people do go, even if it's like a Yamaha PM1000 or whatever, there's affordable desks it's just look at all the knobs. What do you
Yes.
do with so anyway.
Do you
And-
know how
and-
many
but
square feet you have there?
It's crazy. It's dinky. It's 700 square feet.
I just find it fascinating what everything that you've got in there.
I know.
And then it also feels like a cabin in there.
Yeah, it
And
should.
the
Well, that's
day
what I
that I
wanted
came
it
to
to.
visit you, you're feeding me Swiss chocolate,
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking about our Swedish heritage. Shout
Yeah,
out to
yeah.
our home country.
You bet. Yeah, no kidding.
It's
I
so
know, it's-
cozy.
I know, but that's the thing too. I think hopefully, I don't know. I think I tell her, my wife and everybody that knows me, I think I'll have one more place. I think I'm going to build one more. I'll build one more studio, I think. Well, who the fuck knows? But I think I'll build one more studio. And having done it twice, the third time, it'll be bigger. It won't be here.
Yeah.
It will be bigger. But
Those are aspirations to have in New York. That's a can-do attitude.
yeah, it won't be here, man. It won't be in New York. It's impossible. It's impossible.
Would it be in the state, though, somewhere?
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean,
Yeah.
there's like when I had the old place, the old studio we paid $3,300 a month for 2,500 square feet. That's what we paid in Brooklyn. And when we didn't own the building, and we own this place, but we didn't own the building. And when I went to go, so the landlords wanted the building back, which is whatever, man. It's their, I never faulted them for that. I didn't fight for anything. It's like, it's your place. It's commercial. It's a family. They want to sell it and make some money. Good for you. And
Reality.
but well, yeah. But I don't feel like anybody owes me anything. But the thing is the same economic conditions that let them, like, make, again. It's there. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But the same economic that offered them tremendous advantage, selling this piece of property and developing it in condominiums. Those same economic conditions made it almost like I was going to visit people and they went, oh, the landlord wants $600 a square foot. And I go, yeah, my daughter wants a pet unicorn. I can't, you know what I mean? And so there's just no way. You can't pay $10,000 a month and own a recording studio. You can't, unless you're independently wealthy.
Yeah.
You can't, because you can't bill. There's no way to make that, to pay $8,000 a month or $10,000 a month for a recording studio when people are charging $85 an hour. It's just, you can't. So anyway, I ended up here in the smaller space and I can afford it. And I'm very happy with a number of the records. I'm happy working here all the time, but a few of the records that I've made here sound very, very good.
Yeah. It's a really cool studio. And I'll also point out, like, Eric's had to move from a studio in Williamsburg, right, to here.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, that's why he calls. I think that's why they call the studio. That's why they call it Cowboy Technical Recording Rig, because they've got it dialed in to where they have. Eric's like, I mean, since I've known him, they've at least, I think they've been in 4 locations since I've known him. And there isn't a ton when they move. It's not like there's not a ton of downtime. It's not like they move and the studio disappears for half a year. I mean, they move that freaking thing and set it up.
Eric is an organizational genius. He's going to
kinda
really
is.
love this episode if he
Yeah.
listens to
Yeah,
it.
it's a
Shout
good
out
viewers.
to Eric
Yeah.
Amble. He
Yeah.
could get her done.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had his bar and all that to deal with, real estate, and also
right?
moved from Manhattan to Brooklyn and did that. And that's so cool.
He had 2 bars for a while.
Yeah. That's so cool. Anyway, I had such a fun time that day. And we've been planning on doing an episode ever since then, and you've been extremely busy. You tour, I know it's sporadic with your production schedule and all this other stuff, but you still play live.
It's weird, you know. It's weird when I'm so. It's when I play like I go out for a month or something, and you know, Johnny will do Mule Bone or something. I'll go away for a while and play, and I love it. It's kind of more fun in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
But after a while, I really do. I'm kind of like, oh man, that studio's sitting there not getting used. And then I'll get really, really immersed in the studio, and I'll do a bunch of projects back to back, and then I'm like, man, I'm not playing enough, and I got to go. So I'm happiest kind of. As I said to you in that email thing, when I'm dead, I want to be all used up,
Yeah.
and I'm happy. I'm happiest when I'm doing both. I kind of like
Y-
being. I wish I made better choices. I wish I made better choices. I would in my
Don't we all?
fantasy world, and I don't even know if I mean this, but in my fantasy world, I wish I could say no more than I do. I wish I could, but I don't feel like I can because I got to make, you know, I got kids and stuff, and I got a house mortgage, and I got this place. I kind of wish I could say no more than I do, so that I could concentrate on fewer things. But I like being super busy.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, keeps you sharp no matter what line of work anybody's in. You
Yeah,
know, the road
yeah,
and
totally,
everything
totally. And
else.
the
And
other
Eric
thing's not
does
me
too.
complaining.
Eric gets out there and
Oh fuck yeah, it does. Excuse me. Yeah,
Eric gets out there and gets in the what is this Ford Flex? He'll play around.
he loves that thing. He
I
loves
love it too.
he loves that thing.
Hey, Eric Campbell, we wish you were here, buddy.
Yeah.
Next time I come to Brooklyn, we're all going to have a meal together.
Yeah, he bought that from something on the internet where he bought it, and they just dropped it off in front of his house.
He's a massive fan of the company Carvana,
That's
which is
it. Yeah,
how
yeah,
they deliver. It's a
yeah. He
very,
bought the thing, and
very
it's like
unique.
it all checked out, and they just dropped it off in front of his place. Gave him the
Yeah,
keys. He was like, "All right, that worked."
it's a great system. Well, like, why would you ever question what Eric Campbell
Yeah,
does? He
yeah,
figured out how to move all those students. Like, hey, Eric Campbell, I need you to tell me how to buy a car.
yeah, yeah.
But I almost bought a car from them recently, but I found one I wanted from the Hyundai dealership. But it's an interesting
I thought you
system.
drove a Cooper, a Mini Cooper.
No, my husband, we needed to upgrade our
Ah,
road trip car.
okay.
And you know, and we had a Prius and we like a 4-door sedan for road trips.
Yeah,
My Mini Cooper will not cut it in
right,
today's world.
right.
What do you drive, Hugh? I'm dying to
Man,
know.
I am a platinum member of. Every year I'm platinum Expedia. I have points everywhere. I don't. I was on this dude's boat about 10 years ago on Lake Michigan. Pretty successful businessman, and and we were just sitting there, and he was, you know, he's got business going. He's on his iPad, and we're sitting there, and Johnny had been saying something. I had an old Mercedes Benz that I had at the time, which I loved when it worked great, but it was always breaking down, and it was so expensive to fix. At a certain point, he goes, Huey, what do you ask me? He said, Huey, how much? What do you spend on that car? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, what's your insurance? And I told him. And he goes, how many parking tickets you get? And I told him. And he just was sitting there. The conversation took about 3 minutes. And he goes, get rid of that car. He said,
Yeah.
he said, your cost per mile owning that vehicle. He said, I bet that you could take a taxi anytime you want and rent cars
Yeah.
for the touring that you do. And it'll be cheaper than owning your car. And I was like, well, hell, then I'm taking away my freedom. I can't go to the. And then I realized that a lot of what I did with the thing is like some gig would pay like, you know, $300 in New Jersey, and I'd get in the car and drive and pay the toll and do the stuff, and it's great, and I go play.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. But at the end of the day, what did I really do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What did I really? Do you know what I mean? What did in terms of like a guy with a business, like what did I really do? So I called 1-877 Cars for Kids, and the next morning they came and took my car, and you know, I've never gotten a parking ticket. I don't have to move the car on its side of the street parking. And now, where I am, every major car rental agency is within a 10-minute walk of my house. And so I
Yeah.
just go to Expedia. I get a car for $46 a day or $26 a day.
Hmm.
And for like, I'll rent a, you know, a minivan for a month for $2,000. I mean, you can't,
Instead of owning it.
yeah,
I find this fascinating. I've told you that I have this dream that I'll live in New York one day. And part of that
cool.
dream is not owning a vehicle
Yeah,
because
totally.
I was born and raised in the American South. I'm even in awe of train travel. That's one thing I love so much about New
Oh, yeah.
York. I don't
My,
like to get in a car in New
Jan-
York. Even when I'm in a capable cab driver, I'm still a nervous wreck in the car in New York. I find the safest ride the subway for
Jan-
me. Anyway, I love to watch New Yorkers navigate that. What's Eric and I were just talking about a week ago. he was needing new tires, and he was saying, it's expensive to own this car in New York.
you
And I'm
bet it
sure
is.
he's always trying to juggle. What does it mean? Anyway, we're really going down the tangent, but
Yeah.
Eric,
No car in New York. No car for me. And
yeah, and
it
you're
doesn't hang me.
getting out there and playing live though without having one, and I think that's fabulous.
And I have a Delta Sky Miles card, and I get miles for Delta,
Uh-huh.
and it's like it's not insignificant. Like, I mean, I just got, we're going to Ohio, and I just got 4 room. No, I got 2 rooms for 4 nights at a Hampton Inn in Ohio for 2 rooms for 4 nights for like $200 because of my accumulated. It's like a $1,500 worth of rooms, and I had enough accumulated points on Expedia that I got the rooms for $200. I mean, so that's a significant savings. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
Emily,
no
that's a
shout out to
significant
corporate
savings.
entities, but I use it. I use Expedia a lot too because I like the app when I'm finding
Yeah,
hotels
it's so
on the road.
easy.
I'm going to interject something. You said, that you hate to say no to things. And I want to say right here on the record, hey, Hugh Pool, will you come down to Nashville and play somewhere? Bring your resonator guitar,
Yeah,
please.
I will. Yeah, I'm due for a trip. I have a couple other friends down there besides you. I do.
Okay, because my husband and I just made this road trip. I don't know if you watch, we follow each other on Instagram, and in September, I told him I think it would be great. I fly up and down always. I've never driven in New York, and I told him I wanted to drive to New York State. We stayed in the Hudson Valley,
Cool.
and we drove
I
the
did see
trip,
that.
and we had such a nice time
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah.
And I think, hey, I just did it. You can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you should drive down and stay, because we spent one night, I think, in Dayton, and then another night in. We saw so many things in between. And you need to get a couple of dates, like a nice, sweet little tour that goes to
Absolutely.
Nashville and goes right back.
I got Pittsburgh covered, got Youngstown covered, probably Cincinnati got covered. And I'm there.
Baltimore,
Well, that's not-
Charlottesville.
Well, that's the other way. If I went to
No,
Nashville,
but I did both ways, and
I see.
there's 3 different ways to go to
Yeah.
New York
I don't
from
know anybody.
Nashville, and each one is its own story.
yeah,
Actually, shout out to Eric Gamble again. I consulted him because he's driven it a bunch when he
Sure
was
he has.
working for Steve Earle and come
Yep.
to visit for Americana Fest.
right.
So he explained this one looks shorter, but it's not. And he's explaining the trucks and the
Oh,
tolls,
cool.
and he told me to take through Ohio. We almost went up to Lake Erie. I said, great. On the trip there, we'll get no nonsense. We get to see Ohio and, all this. So then we end up in the Hudson Valley. We were only 12 miles from the Manhattan. We weren't like out. And
Right.
anyway,
right.
so, and then the way home, we drove a totally different way.
Cool. That's
And
the way to do it.
It was beautiful and interesting, and we enjoyed the leisure drive. And I bet a person who played a couple of dates, along the way. Anyway,
One of my favorite things to do is to go places I haven't been before. That is for damn sure.
I like to manifest things. So you've got a blues man's couch, David, right here in my house. It's the same one that Eric uses when he comes to stay with us. And
All right, cool.
It's all
Yeah.
yours. Your band, or if you come with more people than you're going to have to put them up. I'll put you up.
I think I just come along. If I were going to do it, I'd probably just come solo.
I'd love it. So eventually I'm going to ask you to tell me about Hugh Pool, because we've spent all this very well spent time explaining who Hugh Pool is and how we met. And I'm so glad that finally a year later we're getting this done.
Yeah, me too.
And I told you, over the course of the year, we've often talked about what might make an interesting chat. And the reality is I forgot all the stuff you told me when I came. It's been a crazy year. You've had a crazy year. Every year is crazy. And 2025 has been busy. And I forgot so many of the things that you told me when I came to visit you. I was like, wow. And I've since found out one thing that you did not tell me.
What's that?
And I would like my listeners to know that Hugh Pool is a star of stage and screen. I read your Wikipedia entry.
I don't know what it's. I can't remember. I mean, of course, I've seen it.
You've been on television.
Oh yeah, I have a few times. Yeah, I have.
Do you consider yourself an actor or a personality?
No. I consider both those things. They're I mean, stuff that happened. They're interesting. They make good stories.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Nothing in the case of I was on an ABC soap opera called The City, which starred Morgan Fairchild and I made a really good friend during that guy, Roscoe Bourne, who was, I think, one of the only actors to be on every major soap opera. He's deceased. But
Wow.
he's also a really good songwriter. I have so much of his stuff, man. God, we worked on so much music that no one's hardly ever going to hear. A lot of it's really good. He was born in Kansas. And his dad was like a main dude at the Washington Post for like 50 years. His father, maybe 60. His father lived to be 96
That's
years old. Total firebrand.
wow.
People holding. Anyway, and I made friends and what's his name was on it? Randy Mantooth, the guy from Emergency, was on there, and yeah, and so
Do
I
they
did.
film soap operas in New York? Do
Yeah.
they
Oh
film
yeah.
that
It's
in
the
New York?
hotbed. It's
Okay.
always been the hotbed. And
Oh, I
it was
didn't know.
it was the
Yeah.
old ABC studio over by the river, 68th Street or something.
Gotcha.
And I did about a dozen episodes of that, totally in the background. Eventually, I got some lines, and my character name was Spike, and I was the guitar player, band leader in the bar. And the the context for it was that there was a very very popular ABC soap opera called Loving, which had been going
I
for a long,
remember.
long time, right? It was a major, major thing in the 70s and 80s, and I guess ratings, whatever. And so the writers, Melrose Place was starting to get super popular, right? And so Melrose Place had the old thing with soap operas was that, there'd be a piece of tape on the floor. You'd have your action, it'd be blocked. You'd come out, you'd hit your mark, you'd say your line. The guy'd hit your mark. You got to understand, they're doing an episode a day, every
Mm-hmm.
day. So there's no, let's look at that. You know what I mean? They had to be super prepared.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good school for actors. You come in, hit your mark. And modern stuff, their steady cams and things came where there's follow action. And so what ABC did was they had a Loving. There was a big explosion. Loving took place in a mythical town called Corinth, I think it was. I can't even believe I'm remembering this. They had a giant explosion one day, and almost everyone was killed. And then the next day, they cherry picked like four cast members, and they time traveled, and they went and they all like regrouped and moved into New York City, and a couple of them bought a bar, and the bar was supposedly in Soho. From one day to the next, Loving became the city. And when they started the city,
What year was this?
95 maybe, 94, 95, 96, I don't know.
This is so
And
fascinating
and
to
and
me.
90 it was 93, 94. Anyhow, they and when they started the city that they hired, they said they tried to make it modern to keep like it's a daytime TV, and Melrose Place was evening, and there were a couple of other ones. So they got a Steadicam guy, they got the stuff, they got the soft light, they got Morgan Fairchild, and they got some kind of glitzy star kind of like LA kind of stuff, and they scripted the soap. So the Steadicam, meaning that the dude would walk in the door and the camera would follow him through the thing. So like a bar was an awesome place, right?
Yeah.
A set, because there can be all this interesting action and stuff and music happening. And so
Cheers.
the guys that were in the music department, this really guy became a good friend of mine, Jerry Pilato, and his partner Terry, were charged with and Scott Schreer owned the music package for the show, and they heard a record that I made called Spirits Treat Me Gently, which I put out in 1993. And it was economically driven. It's so they went, oh, we want some Stevie Ray Vaughan for this thing, but like Stevie Ray Vaughan, that could be like a $60,000 drop fee to use a Stevie Ray Vaughan, because Stevie Ray Vaughan was alive and super popular. So
Exactly.
they're like, so then the guys in the trenches, the guys in the music department are like, no, we got something that's similar to that, but we know this guy. And so they called me, and I went and I did one episode, and then the AD and everybody liked me, and so then they just.
As a Stevie Ray Vaughan stand-in.
I never did that. They didn't
No, but I
try.
love
That's not, that's
this.
right. But that's not what
Yeah.
my thing is. And they got that. They knew that immediately. So they're not
Yeah.
stupid people.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of like, it's totally bluesy, which is part of who
Yeah.
I am. But like,
Yeah.
my thing is like a little more singer-songwritery kind of deal. And like, it's
Mm-hmm.
guitar, but it's like singer-songwritery. And I never
Mm-hmm.
tried to be like a Strat and a hat kind of guy. And so they let me be my thing. And anyway, whatever. So it helped my wife and I survive I think the show ran for about 2 years,
That is so
and they used a lot
killer.
of my music.
That's a double whammy. I find that industry really fascinating, and my big exposure to it is when I went to college and I lived in a dormitory. And the stories in soap operas, and I remember Melrose Place being a major
Oh
phenomenon.
yeah,
And
blew it open.
yes, massive. This is a true story. at my house in Atlanta, I was already in my 20s, and I ran in a group posse, and we'd have these Melrose Monday get-togethers
Oh,
at our
cool.
house.
That's cool.
And we'd everybody bring their own pizza.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I'll shout out to my friends, Michael, Dryden, Shireen, Pam, Bailey. Y'all know who you are. We used to have a Melrose Monday get together and it was campy because we were kind of hipsters. And
Yeah.
we were like, hey, we're
Like
going
a,
to watch some
yeah,
stupid.
it's like a guilty pleasure thing.
And it was kind of became something just like Seinfeld became
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
these communal
Yeah,
experiences.
totally.
That I find that incredibly fascinating, and what an opportunity. Please tell me that there are episodes somewhere that I can find
You
on
know,
YouTube.
I think kind of like, I don't know. I mean, the one, yeah, I don't really know. You know
I'm
what?
gonna
I
look.
got to be honest with you, Emily. I do not spend, I, I don't spend a lot of time searching myself on stuff. I don't know. Have I ever done it? Have I ever looked for the city episodes years ago? I did because I thought it'd be a kick to see it.
Yeah.
Everything's everywhere. I don't have the inclination or the time, or I just don't care. You
Yeah.
know?
Okay, I'll get on it for you. I want to
Yeah.
find it because I find this so fascinating. What an
Yeah.
opportunity for you. But I don't think we ever talked about that when I came to visit you.
No,
I'm
no.
finally going to get to it. You told me the story about Hugh Pool as a musician, and
Mm.
now I'm going to make you tell my listeners. Before we get into gear talk, I want everybody to know that Hugh Pool has got some killer guitars and he's going to show them to me. But right now, I want to hear about a story about how he became such an accomplished guitarist, musician, songwriter, music producer, actor, star of stage and screen in Brooklyn, New
Oh my
York.
God! Yeah, I just put
So
new,
tell me the story.
I just
Break it
put a new
down
I
for
just
me.
put a new faucet set in the shower too the yesterday.
Plumber.
Electrician.
Take
Yeah,
it from the top. Give me the
I yeah, I
give
don't
me the
know. You know,
bio. Remind me.
you know, it's like my
Let me ask you one.
circumstances. I can say what? Go ahead.
One thing that just came back almost like deja vu. Didn't you tell me that you lived somewhere where y'all didn't have many neighbors and then you moved to an area that was more populated? Is
Oh yeah,
that
I grew up on a
okay?
farm. I grew up on a
Yeah,
farm
I
in
thought
West
that was
in Western
interesting.
PA. Yeah, and the
Not
first thing,
trying not
first
trying to rush you into
yeah,
that,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
thought that was
I get it. I get it. I
fascinating.
had a thing happen. Whatever. I heard really all my sister and my brother. My sister's 10 years older. My brother was 8 years older. He's dead. And the first, so all the music that I heard when I was a kid, because there was nothing, you know. It was and I think my brother got "Will the Circle Be Unbroken," and for whatever reason, he and his friends were into bluegrass music. So like I knew that record kind of by heart, the one that came out in '72, the first one.
Hmm.
And then I think maybe he got a harmonica, and like I used to go in his room when he wasn't around, and he was mean, and he used to not fun relationship, but so it was a real risk for me to go in and steal his harmonicas, and because I'd get hurt, and I'd go in and then like take the harmonicas when he was around and like play and like trying to imitate what I heard him doing, and then put it back. And then eventually I got a harmonica, and I learned how to play it a little bit. And then both my sister and my brother had gotten guitars, and so when I started wanting to have a guitar, my parents were like, you know, we think there's some in the attic, and I didn't go up in the attic. So and we moved a couple of times, and then I got pneumonia. I got rheumatic fever when I was 15, and I had a friend of mine named Bob Waldy, and he had a Stella guitar that he didn't use. It was sitting in. It was a nice suburb at this point, like nice suburbs of Pittsburgh. And when I felt good enough, like I didn't have a fever anymore, but I couldn't. You know, when you have that, you can't go back be around people for a while, right? Even though I felt pretty good, like it's contagious for a while.
Gotcha.
And so like I felt pretty good, but I couldn't go back to school for like another 2 weeks or something. And I somehow I think I called him on the phone. I needed something to do, and he brought the guitar over to my house, and I think I had birthday money or something, and I gave him $25, and in the case was a pitch pipe, Mel Bay Pointer Method, and a Stella guitar with 6 strings on it. And so the first thing I did was like took a coat hanger and I made a harp rack out of because I kind of knew how to play the harmonica, and I just stuck the harp in, and I kind of used the guitar to accompany myself on the harmonica, but I didn't have any idea that you had to tune the guitar to the harmonica. I didn't know how that worked, so it sounded terrible. And then my sister, well, I didn't know. I don't know. I never claimed to be smart. And then my sister met this.
Self-taught.
Yeah,
Out in the country.
my sister met this fellow who's my brother-in-law, Craig, and he started coming around and he could play guitar, and he was like, "Oh no, no!" And he showed me how to tune the guitar, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is way better sounding." And so I actually had the. I mean, I understood the guitar had to be in tune, but I didn't understand that there was a sameness between the harmonica and the guitar. So once I got the guitar tuned to 840, then it was in. And then I just, I never listened to anybody. I never did anything. I went away. I got, what is terrible things. And then when I was 20, just fast forward, I got kicked out of college and just whatever. And I was 20 and I had a girl that I'd met in the 1 year of school that I went to. And I got a ride with a friend with a guitar and a backpack. And I landed in New York City and started playing in the subway. And then
That's so organic. The story that you told me is so organic.
Yeah. And then I did enroll at Hunter College, and I went for a little while. And then after about 5 years, there was somebody called me up and said, "Did you see the ad in the Village Voice?" And there was an ad for washboard player looking for young country blues players for tour in Scandinavia. And I returned the phone call, and 6 weeks later, I was playing on the street in Stockholm and traveled. I did that till I was almost 30. I did that. I was like a itinerant street musician, playing all day, every day. So how I got to be kind of good was I played all day, every day for about 4 years, and then I came back, and the whole time I was away. I never left New York, but all my stuff was in storage. And when I'd come back to New York, I'd crash at somebody's house, and I'd just pay all their bills. No one would take rent from me, but like I'd just take the electric bill and the phone bill, and I'd just pay them. I'd stay with somebody for a month, and I'd just pay their bills for a month. And then, so I think I was like kind of fun to have around, And then at a certain point, I walked into a bar and I saw my wife. I saw Janie. And,
a bar where in New York?
The Year in Soho.
Okay.
I went in and I saw Janie there.
What year was that?
92 probably 92.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it took a long time. It did. She didn't go out with me right away, but anyway, we've been married for 30 years. We have 2 kids in the house and everything. We live in Brooklyn.
Persistence.
Yeah.
Persistence.
And I didn't, I kept going. All I did was play music until we had Bo in 2000. That's all I did. I had a Ford Econoline van with 2 gas tanks in it. And Janie used to come with us. And even when we had Bo would come with us because it's a trio, so it'd be just bass drums. And I had with coachman seats and, it was crazy. We were like 30-year-old people. It'd be like, "Oh, let's go to the flea market." After the gig, we're playing in Maryland, and everybody'd get up early. Not early, but everybody get up and get breakfast, and we'd go to the pawn shops and go see if we could find yard sales to find, audio equipment or instruments or something, and still make it to the gig that night. And then when we had to send Bo to school. We kept him out until first grade, and then when all of a sudden it's like, well, I got to stay here. You know what I mean? And then I started coaching soccer and doing that stuff and being a dad, and I bought into the studio and blah blah blah.
Does Bo play music? I'm curious.
The funny thing is he's both my kids do, and
okay,
Bo's he's like pretty good. He's like he's no joke. He's like a pretty good guitar player.
He's in immersion his entire life. Why? I
he
mean,
doesn't-
it's incredible.
Yeah,
but
but
I know sometimes with parents, I don't have children of my own, but I know sometimes if your parents are interested in something, it's a reason to be not, in this relationship.
He doesn't do it in front of other people, man. He doesn't. Johnny and I took him on tour when he was 15. We made a live record, and I trained him. I showed him how to run the recording stuff, and so we took him out for almost a month. His job was, he got paid for it. His job was to set the recording gear up every night and tape the show and then bring it down. And so he was always hanging out, and people, "Bo, play a song, Bo," all the time. And he was just like, no. He wouldn't do it. But he's good.
He doesn't have the performance gene.
Yeah.
The performance thing, I don't know how to play anything, and I also don't have the performance gene other than, what I'm doing right now. But you know what I mean. He doesn't.
I do.
That's really fascinating.
It is. And he's literally...
His instrument is guitar. Does he play other things?
Oh, he plays guitar, but it's not like a joke. He's good. He's a good player. He is. And he's a quick learner.
Does he play other instruments? Because,
No,
you own a studio. He's been around everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't know. I'm sure give him a minute. He could figure out a little banjo and mandolin and stuff. But he's got, he even when he was a little kid, right away, he had a good right hand. And that is just weird for somebody to have a good right hand right away. And I can't.
Yeah.
And my daughter Lily is like totally self-contained singer-songwriter. She plays guitar and plays piano, and she's and I, she's not really. She's in school right now, and she's up at the University of Vermont, and she's in a sorority. And as a boy, she's having a very, very nice time. A very nice. She loves where she is. I don't get when during the pandemic and when she was high school, she was like full bore. We made some recordings here at the studio, and she's quite good. And she played at the bitter end, and she's open for us. It is in fact part of her major. Her major is music production and business management.
Excellent. And is Lily Pool her performance name?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
Well, she doesn't. She hadn't pulled the trigger on anything. During the pandemic, she would come on my live streams, and she's open for us here in New York City at the bitter end, and she's open for us at the West Side Bowl in Youngstown, Ohio. And she again, same with her. She's no joke. I mean, she is the same thing with Bo's like right hand, which is weird that somebody has just natural right hand from the beginning. That's people usually focus on if you're a right-handed guitar player, people usually focus on the left hand, and there's all this stuff associated with left hand. It hurts. Like everything is the left hand. The strings hurt my fingers, everything.
Yeah.
And the right, but he just was immediately able to kind of go like, he was just like, what? And Lily, the same thing when she started, she would just plop down on the chair and pick up her guitar and start to sing, and you'd just be like, fuck, there's no self-awareness, there's no pretension, there's no nothing. It's impossible to teach that. And so anyway, they both
As
amazing.
someone who was born with no talent, I would like to agree that sometimes you are just genetically lucky. I did take a couple of guitar lessons, and it was uncomfortable for me. So the stuff that you're talking about, the naturalness, and it's just like sometimes people are born with the athleticism.
That could well be.
Yeah, it's and other things that makes perfect sense to me. I hope one of these days I'll get to check them out. And, I get up to New York a lot. And one of these days I'll get to see them and you, maybe. You should start a family band.
They both have, they're both, I don't know how to get whatever, but they're both blessed with some natural aptitude. And the thing that we've gotten compliments on as parents has been the naturalness of our kids. And I don't know what that does, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's great immersion to you telling the stories of touring with your young Bo.
I got Bo one time we were driving. It was so funny. We used to have this gig in Nantucket, which was a fantastic gig. At the Brotherhood of Thieves in Nantucket. And one time, it was a rainy night. We're driving out to Cape Cod. You got to go across that bridge, wherever that is, the bridge that goes out to the Cape. And we're going like on a roundabout. And this is in maybe 2003, 2004. My kid's in his car seat in the back of in the van. And there's rain streaming down the thing. It's dark out. And we pass by this bar that's got like a windmill or something like that. And he says something, and JD turns around and goes, "What's that, honey?" And Bo's got his little finger on the thing. He goes, "My daddy played in that bar." I was like, "Because I played in every bar."
Hey, I hope you taught him to drive at the age of 12.
He doesn't. It's funny, man. He doesn't drive. It's New York City.
Has he ever been the driver?
No, he's New York City. He does. He's got a city bike.
That's
He's got a city bike key, and I mean, Manhattan's amazing. New York's amazing. You can go anywhere for $2.50. Well, maybe it's $2.75, but you can go anywhere for $2.50. It's fantastic.
I want to become one day. I'm going to manifest Hugh Pool playing in Nashville soon.
Yeah,
and I'm going to manifest living the car-free life in New York City.
I tell you what, it's not bad, man.
The
car-free life is not a bad life. We're Americans, and we're like, don't take away my freedom.
Yeah, but if you need one, you can get one.
Easy now.
Yeah. Then even if you bring in repairs, and then you got a big repair on a car, first of all, you don't want to have a fancy one. You want to have an old beater in the city. And then if you get an expensive repair that's $2,000 or $4,000, that just blew your whole budget for the year.
And it's not if, it's when. It always happens.
Yeah.
And that was the thing with the Benz is like everything was $900 and nothing ever got fixed. It was like everything was $1,000.
Okay, back to Hugh Pool
Yeah.
establishing himself as a musician. You've played in so many entities, and that's what blew my mind when I went to visit you. This, that, Mulebone, your own. And this kind of goes hand in hand with your lipstick pickups because resonator, and that's part of your sound. You
Yep.
are a traditionalist, a recreationist, a traditionalist, and singer-songwriter.
Yes.
But you also have a storied history with a silver tone. It was
Yeah.
you played slide on it.
Yeah. I got you're talking about this one here. This one's
Yeah, we're going to get into the gear in a moment, but tell me about all the bands. Take it from the top.
well, I don't want to. I mean, I do.
Short list. Short list
Yeah.
of the
I mean, I
bands that
just
you
say
played in.
like current, like in the last. It doesn't matter. Any of that doesn't matter. But like currently, I play. I mean, if there were anything super interesting, I'd say it. I've worked with tons of people, and I always, my thing is, like to, get out your dust broom and like name drop, you know what I mean? And I have worked with, but I always tell people, and I mean it quite literally. I tell people, I've done thousands of sessions with hundreds of artists you've never heard of, and it's the truth. I've done thousands of sessions with hundreds of artists you've never heard of.
Amazing.
But but some you have.
But some people have heard of them.
Yeah, of course. But I've been playing for years with a woman named Lorraine Leckie and her Demons, and we have a record release. This will be not out by then, but we're playing the Mercury Lounge this Tuesday. We have a record release party.
Excellent.
For an album that we made that's available on Spotify now, and it's kind of interesting. It's a very it's sort of kind of more it's just a band, but it's definitely orchestrated.
Yeah.
Thing. And I play I did a couple of records with a woman named Emily Fremgen, and I know I sent some stuff because there's some really cool baritone.
I'm a fan. Follow her on Instagram, and I like my Americana in New York City. I like the way people dress like cowboys up there. I always tell Eric, you're my kind of cowboy, and she's my kind of country. She's Americana, and but you can't oversimplify it, though.
No, but she's got a cool thing. I mean, she's you can't you kind of think of like, I mean, I don't want to compare anybody, but she has kind of like a genre, a little bit genre bending thing, like Lucinda Williams. She's
I agree.
She's got a cool identity, and Lorraine is, for a while she used to call herself folk noir, but it's her thing is now it's definitely a rock band, and this last record's pretty adventurous. So I wouldn't forget anybody. I actually jotted down currently, and there's
good.
There's a dude that I've been working with a lot, and he's got a bunch of stuff out over the years, and I've worked with him for a long time. And his name's Rob Carlisle, and he has a group called the Compulsions, and they're sort of like, for fans of Aerosmith and the Stones and ZZ Top, and fans of kind of like the edgier side of classic rock, which is maybe selling a little bit short, but that's the thing. If you like that stuff, you'll like the Compulsions. And the production value on his records is pretty high.
Yeah. I love the name.
Yeah, he's got a dual life, and he's an art director, and the production level's pretty high on his records because he has high expectations. There's Chris Lefko. Her thing. We just did this thing, and she made a video. She teaches film, and we did the first thing that we did together. Actually, was selected and was shown at the Tribeca Film Festival, and so we got to go. I got to go on the red carpet stuff and go down, and she's won some awards for this thing. It's called Booked a Room at the Airport, and it's like 3 minutes long, and it's everywhere.
Wow.
And then based on that was that was like the first thing we did. Booked a room at the airport. Chris Lefko, KRISLEFCOE, Chris Lefko, and that was kind of encouraging to have the first thing done. I mean, the music's really cool, and she did a great job. I can't remember the name of the guy that helped her on the video, but the video was no joke. It's like it's an animation done with levels of glass, the same way Walt Disney used to do it and she used colors and like old postcards, and then they shoot from the top and move the cards around inside the glass, and it's really beautiful. And so as I said, that was kind of cool to do the Tribeca Film Festival thing. As a musician, I didn't never envision myself being there as a musician.
New York City, though.
Yeah, there's an Irish guy that's got a ton of plays. His name's Pat O'Connell, and I made 2 records with him recently. And I perform. I play with all these people,
Mm-hmm.
and Pat, Irish fella, and he definitely has like a hand in like the sort of John Renbourn and a little bit of Rory Gallagher thing. He's sort of in between that kind of modal Irish folk music and Rory Gallagher. It's very cool stuff.
I
And
love it.
yeah,
Did you break out the electric sitar? You've got to get that Rory Gallagher mojo in
I
there.
know he
He
did.
used it.
I did use it on Lorraine's new record. There's sitar, electric sitar on that. And I'm doing this record with this kind of wonderful guy, and it's going to come out, and there's a lot of music, and its name is he goes by Walter Ego. He's a real New York story, this dude, and we've been working pretty diligently for over a year on his record, which he kind of denied himself for most of his lifetime, and he's finally decided, and he chose me to help him realize it, and it's a super fun. He's a very musical guy. It's offbeat and unusual, but like in a sort of Violent Femmes kind of way. But he's more Beatles influenced, and it's not punk rocky, but it has that kind of weird, like I don't want to say if I say whatever, but like a little sort of like a weird nerdo kind of edge to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also Beatlesy, and
Yeah.
it's very cool. Anyway, those are current.
Ode to psychedelia or the orchestration or
Yeah, I think it's an ode to, in his case, it's just an ode to songwriting that he is a fan of. You know, he's
gotcha.
a fan of the Beatles, and they stylistically kind of drift around the place. I mean, I
Yeah.
Want to Hold Your Hand is certainly different than Helter Skelter. You know what I mean? So he's just traveling his own road.
So
But anyway,
cool.
the things that I just said right there are things that I'm currently working on. And Mulebone has a new record coming out. Our 6th record is going to come out this summer. And with my trio thing, the electric trio, I have this, I play the 3rd Thursday of every month in New York City. And we recently went out and we played at Garcia's in Chicago. There's a great club in Youngstown, Ohio called the West Side Bowl. There's a great club in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania called Moondogs. There's a really cool place in central Pennsylvania called the Elk Creek Cafe and Ale Works, which is a real venue in the middle of nowhere.
I have a bowling alley for you here in Nashville.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, but anyway, that's all stuff that I'm doing currently. Over the years, I can't even remember. That was boring as hell.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
Okay, here's one thing I'd like to ask you about. You made me hip to the Elgin Marbles. Remind me
Oh
what
yeah,
that
Dan
was
Baker.
again. You had the electric sitar song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dan is a yeah. He's the originator, the original kind of thing behind this studio, actually behind not this studio, but behind Excello. And he had a band for years called Love Camp 7, and they made a bunch of records. And Dan is a lone survivor of Love Camp 7. It's crazy.
Wow.
He's not an old man, but everyone else in the band is dead. And so which is crazy, right? And
you sent me a record where who's using electric sitar on
well,
track.
he rebooted, but he can't. Love Camp 7 is in the past. That's over.
Okay.
But Dan's sensibility is Dan's sensibility, and that is carried over into this new project called Elgin Marbles. And
That's
yes,
so cool.
they just put out their first record. I think whenever I sent that to you last summer or something like that.
What was the name of the track? Do you remember?
I don't.
It made me listen to the whole record, and I enjoyed it.
It's very imaginative.
It's very imaginative. Well done. And excellent use of electric sitar,
Yeah.
which we're going to get to eventually.
Yeah.
And Mulebone was something I never listened to until you made me aware of it, and I love that stuff. That's an interesting collaboration.
Pretty unique, yeah.
Yeah. Remind me, and also tell my listeners, describe it in a sentence or two.
Mulebone is modern country blues, and it's instrumentation is my partner John Ragusa is don't throw the term virtuoso around often, almost ever, and I think John is approaching that. He's an incredibly expressive flute player who plays cornet, conch shell, Jew's harp, and he's a real pocket knife of brass. And
And then you on guitar.
Yeah, and lots of harmony, and our voices blend.
Yeah.
Our voices blend pretty nicely together.
Yeah.
And he's a little plug for Johnny. Johnny's been playing in Alison Brown's band. He's a core member of Alison Brown's band now. So she lives down there, but he flies on a lot of weekends, and she's picking up a lot of momentum. So he's, semi-busy doing that as well. But we play a lot, and
I want to see
for
it.
almost 20 years we've been touring in the summertime. We do between 20 and 30 dates a summer.
I want to see it. It's really great stuff. Please, listeners, go check it out if you haven't.
And the boot board, can't forget that. That's a defining thing with Mulebone is the boot board.
Is that something like a stomp box?
Yeah.
Boot board. Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else you want to tell me before we get into what everybody came for? Gear talk. We got to have the gear talk. Anything else you want me to know about Hugh Pool?
No, but it'll come out if it comes out, in the course of us doing what we're doing.
All right, let's play show and tell. I know you got some cool stuff in there with interesting stories, and I want to see the sparkly one too.
All right, well, this one's, I don't know. Everybody's got one of these. There's 2 pickup deals.
Everybody should have one.
Yeah. And I've had I had 2, and I sold one to Ken Rich. He owns a studio. My buddy, he plays bass with me for years. And he
hold it up so we can see the back, because when I met you, the back of it, I said, look at all the wear. You have a bunch of wear on there from your blues belt.
Or the button from Levi's jeans, because I don't wear a belt a lot.
I thought it was such unusual wear, and
well, it is. It's either the belt or the button. The top button on your jeans. The button. Yeah. It's definitely from my.
It's what period did you use?
I like to think this is 64. I don't think there's really a way to date it, but I like to think it's 64 because I was born in 1964.
Killer. But what period were you using it? I've seen videos of you playing it, and I've seen pictures.
I still use it.
You still tour with it?
I take it to every gig.
Really?
Yeah.
It's still part of your short list of gear?
Yeah, man.
It's a silver tone. Do we remember the number? It's the 2 pickup for anybody not looking at the video. It's the 2 pickup red sparkle.
The 2 pickup red sparkle thingy. I've never been good with
often identified.
I've never been good with the model numbers on these things. It's 4 numbers. I don't know what it is. I think it's from 1964.
Yeah.
I had 2 of them, and one came with the amp in the case. This one did not. I've got this at Chelsea Music. I bought a Stevie Ray Vaughan Stratocaster, which is back there somewhere. It's right there. I bought a Stevie Ray Vaughan Stratocaster and this guitar for $1,000 at Chelsea Music in like 1993, something like that. Which I thought was a cool deal. Huh?
Yeah.
It was a Friday.
Money well spent.
It was a Friday, and I had cash. Can you hear that?
Yes.
And when I'm trying to get a little bit more. This is straight into a Supro amp, except that was with my, that's with a Dynacomp with a compressor pedal. And then sometimes some trippy shit. Sometimes with weird like lines and choruses. This guitar is really, it does so much stuff.
It's so atmospheric.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of these guitars. It's just you start playing it, and you just kind of go like, oh yeah, man, I just want to play this thing. And it is, and it also.
I think everyone should have one of those.
And also,
listening to this, I don't know why anybody would not have one of those.
And this is I got to give a little shout out to Supro, because they gave me this is a Super Delta King 12, and I'm playing, except for these, I've got pedals on the front end of it right now, but none of them are on. I mean, you hear it very obviously when I turn. It's a trem pedal, right?
Yeah.
But none of these pedals are on. This is just the amp. And I got to say,
yes,
they're not bad. They're pretty good amps. And I got one, and the first thing that happened, they sent it to me on tour, and the first thing that happened was they sent it to me on tour. This is kind of funny. At least I think it's funny. Because somebody asked me, dude, why did that happen 3 times? I was on tour last summer, and the amp missed me, right? It missed. And then I told them, so I gave them an address like 3 days away or 4 days away, and they sent it to me. But by that time, we'd already played like 5 shows. So we had the Tetris game with the car all figured out, right? And this like eliminates arguments and all that kind of shit on the road. The pack was established. Like we found a way to pack the van so that nothing flopped over, nothing got hurt, right? And so we packed the van the way we packed the van. So after whatever 6 shows, we showed up at this in some town in Michigan, and the amp was there. And I'm like, cool. So I unpacked it, did it, and I wanted to use it to play harmonica through. And so then for the next 3 days, we packed the van and then stuffed the new amp in at the end. And every day for 3 days, when we opened the van, when we got to the gig, the amp tumbled out and fell onto the sidewalk in front of the club. Right?
and
It still works. That's it. That's what I'm saying. Not only is it a good sounding amp, it has fallen out of the back of a van onto the pavement 3 times. And it's still...
sounds like it's ready for the blues highway.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Shout out to Supro.
Shout out to Supro.
Yeah. How physically big is that amp?
I'll send you a picture of it. It's a 1. It's like a Princeton. It's like a 1. Princeton's 110, but it's a little combo, just a little tiny combo.
Awesome.
Little suitcase.
Awesome. All right, that's a signature guitar for you. You're still touring with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. This is the backbone of and it rocks pretty hard too. If you.
Yeah.
I forget how that song goes. Kind of rocks, kind of. You know what I mean? I think it sounds good. It's atmospheric.
I'll take 100.
Huh? Yeah, that's what I mean. It's really versatile.
I'll take 100.
You know who plays
so
one?
Do you still have the 2? Do you still have the 2, or are you just down to
I sold
that
one.
one?
I sold my wife.
Okay.
Yeah, I sold. I needed money, and why do I need 2? I got too much stuff. I sold it. Janie.
Yeah, I cut you off. You were about to say somebody uses them.
No, that's right. When I bought the second guitar, Janie was like, "This is a long time ago." Janie's like, "Oh, cool. Don't you already have one of those?" And I'm like, well, yeah, I got it. I got one, but it was a good deal.
It's such an inexpensive. It's not a cheap guitar.
No,
it's
but for
inexpensive.
relative to our economy at the time, it was like she had a point. And then after a while, she's really into dishes and stuff. She was just mentioning this to me this morning. Actually, she was someplace. She was picking out these dessert plates or something like that. And I'm like, baby, do you not have enough dessert plates? Don't we already have dessert plates? Because she's got stacks of dishes anyway. So it was sort of touche, Pally.
I think they're all equally important. Dessert plates and guitars, as long as they're affordably priced.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
way to go.
agreed.
Anything else you want to show us about that before we see more of your collection?
Yeah, that just is a cool one. I had a really terrible day. I played in this winery about 3 years ago, and the guitar stand blew over, and I looked down and I couldn't believe it. The guitar went over this way. And I looked down, it just broke the head. It just split the headstock. It split all the tuners off the headstock. I could not believe it.
And?
I fixed it.
Oh, good for you.
I fixed it, but I fixed it.
Have you ever had work done to the electronics or the pickups? No. Man.
No, Emily, that is the mark. Whatever anybody ever says about any instrument that they have, any guitar, no matter what anybody says, the reason that like the beat up guitars always sound good is because you could constantly reach for them. This thing stays in tune. I've never adjusted the truss rod, except for the tuner's breaking off of the top. I glued it back. I haven't done anything to it except change the guitar strings. And I've had it for 30, more than 30 years. I've had it for 30 years. All great instruments, that's the common story. And that's the same piece with all the fancy, all the expensive pieces of vintage gear in the studio. They all have 3 knobs, man. Nobody wants it. They don't need 9 knobs. Nobody knows what to do with it, really. You give you something that sounds good with 3 knobs, I'm cool. Like 1 knob is better. Just make it sound great and give me 1 knob.
Yeah.
But 3 knobs. And the same with the instruments. It's just like they stay in tune and they're not finicky with the weather.
Yeah. I love that. Don't you have a baritone guitar that's
You know
really...
what? I have to stand up. So I have to stand up.
Go ahead, hop up and get them all. He's got an interesting list of guitars. This one's fun. I got to see this one.
This thing, maybe somebody that knows you can help me with this thing. But before, the thing that's pretty cool about this guitar is there used to be this, there's no romantic story about getting this on the road, but there used to be this magazine, it was called Musician's Friend. And I don't know whether, I think it was just I don't even know if it existed as a brick and mortar place, but it was called Musician's Friend. And they would send out a magazine, and in the back of it, the outline of the back 2 pages was always lined in red, and you could just flip to it super easily because it's outlined in red, and you could see it from outside the magazine. And at the top, it would say Hot Deals, and they had the Hot Deals, a bunch of guitars going across 1 page, and they were like Yamaha Pacificas and all this stuff, and which I'm not interested in. And Dano was fully in reissue land at this point, and they'd made this guitar called the Hodad, which was not a groovy as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's like the new, not a traditional design. And so they had these guitars across the thing, and there was a Dan Electro, this guitar. There was a Dan Electro Hodad, and the thing, and it was $149 in the Hot Deals. And I said, well, I don't care, I'm buying it. You know, it's cool. It's a 3 pickup Silvertone. Dano. And I called him up on the phone. I didn't have a credit card. At that time, I didn't have a credit card. This was maybe 1998 or 1999. The guy said, oh, no, we can do cash on your COD. I'm like, cool. So the UPS guy came to the thing. I paid him the money. He did the thing. I took the guitar out, and it's a freaking baritone. And it was not advertised as a baritone. And I don't know if... And it's because they took the Hodads, and I don't think there's a way that I can show this to you, but you can sort of see it right there. See that right there? That little thing? You can see where they took a bandsaw and they cut the headstock off and glued the new headstock on to extend the neck, to extend it to make it a baritone. Because it was not sold as a baritone, it was sold in Hot Deals as a Hodad. I think that's a remarkable story.
It is. I'm sure that there's somebody out there who'll know all about it, because these Hodads are all weird, interesting stories. Yeah. Every time I've ever seen one, it's kind of something that feels like a unicorn. And that was an interesting time period too.
Yeah.
It shows up and it's a baritone. Were you disappointed or
delighted?
No,
I was psyched. I didn't even really want the Hodad. I was just like $149. I had a little bit of money. I'm like, come on.
It's also incredibly sparkly, and
that was the other thing. Come on, silver sparkle.
Hold it up so the viewer can see. It's like, it's not just a sparkle paint. It's sparkle. Look at that, shiny. It's massively sparkle. It's glam rock as AF, as they say. Look at that. That's badass.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a lipstick strap right now while you're holding it. That is a beautiful guitar.
It is.
I took pictures of it when I was there, and it was just gorgeous.
If anybody, $149. I got a couple more things to say about this. If anybody knows where I can get a bridge for this thing,
a wood one?
This bridge, because the bridge is caved in. It's concave.
Okay, let me look at the bridge. Is it an intonatable bridge?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, community, get out there and...
Because because I leave this out at the studio in the old place, I came in and someone had tuned it up to 440 concert pitch. Because they thought it was a guitar, and they weren't leaving it in B, so they tuned it up, and it dished this bridge. Okay. So consequently, this is a radius neck with a concave bridge, and so I have to have the action really high, which kind of, that's not ideal.
Okay, community.
I looked around and I could not find a drop-in replacement.
Have you asked Eric Campbell?
It's funny, I did not. I did not. I did not ask
He's
you
a great
that.
resource, but I'll be sure to put this specifically and ask the community. They know all their stuff. I don't know the stuff, but I know how to find people who know it. That's my job.
So this thing is like... The problem, I'll tell you one thing with this guitar that is just kind of irks me every time I pick it up is I had a friend of mine that worked for J. Peterman, that guy, right? That thing, and he was doing window displays for J. Peterman, cool guy, good friend. And they did a shoot in Vegas, and they needed guitars and amps for the Vegas, and they was like, no, dude, we just need like some cool looking guitars and whatever. And the money was fine. It was like a rental thing, and they packed it into a U-Haul truck and took it out to Vegas and did the shoot and some kind of, it was like some sort of installation for a week. And I got paid like some bread, right? And I didn't have to do anything. And and the amps I gave them, they needed big amps, and I gave them like, just indestructible stuff, an Ampeg V4 and but I gave him two guitars that look super cool because I let him pick, and he picked this one, and I have a monkey grip, a 3-pickup monkey grip Teisco guitar, and they brought them back, and they were both broken, the guitars. And in this case, this is this crazy, it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 position switch. So this is like, this toggle switch here has like 12 taps on it. They're not super easy to find. So for 25 years, I got this guitar back, and I've had this stupid, and I can't, I can't pick it up without thinking about that. I don't have a pick with me, but these things are like pretty badass, right? Cool sounding, right?
It's like you're playing guitar and bass at the same time, one person. So
I mean, I know that's not typically used. I don't have a pick on me, but normally, it's like,
So,
with the baritone. I don't have a pick, but
it's so cinematic sounding, and that's why I love that it's so sparkly. It's like, it reminds me of Nashville, and it's like so good.
They used to play this a lot in the Wrecking Crew. Yeah, that was a big, like the double, right? Well, 6-string bass, the double on the thing, the tic tac, right? Whatever. But it's a cool guitar, and it is. Like right now, I just kind of went out on my. I forgot what I was doing because it's so sort of otherworldly.
Yeah.
You almost can't even do anything wrong.
Yeah. Ambiance.
I was, by the way, playing bass at the same time. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's like
Yeah, this
It's
is.
the 16 bass, the bass six, the baritone guitar.
Yeah,
It's got an interesting
I'm not
history.
even
And
clear what the difference. I don't think. I don't. I'm not even clear what the difference is between the bass six and the
thank you for
baritone.
the humility. Did you own a baritone guitar before you got that one?
No, but I've
Or
had this one since the '90s.
wow,
I've
that's
got this.
cool.
As I said, I think it was like I was living. I remember where I was living, and I moved into that apartment in '98, and I moved out of it in 2001. I probably got this in '99.
I think the younger people in Nashville and people, they're really getting hip to the versatility of a baritone guitar. And
Oh
I've
my,
had people in guitar shops tell me the young people, these guitars are hot right now. To quote
totally.
Phoebe Bridgers, who I don't really know her music, that's her signature thing is a
Is it
baritone
really?
guitar. Yes.
I don't have a pick. I can't believe I'm doing this, but
She
like,
plays a $300 Dan Electro with a like a new one with the Dolphin headstock, and that's her signature guitar.
they're good for. They're good. They're good for. You know, they work. I have a. There's a bunch of recorded material. I cannot believe. I'm not going to get up, but
Yeah.
I don't have a guitar pick within reach.
Well, you're gonna have to get up and get the sitar.
What I? Yeah. Well, I do. Oh wait, I do. Do I? I have a bunch of music recorded with a duo where I play this guitar with a drummer called Pig Milk Johnson, along with the other stuff sitting on whatever. But we wrote a bunch of tunes and recorded it in Ohio. But it's super heavy, like a big muff. This thing through a big muff, and it's way heavy.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, anything else you want to say about that or play about that?
So cool. I haven't touched this thing in a while. Thank you for that. Actually, I needed an excuse
Yeah.
to play it. No, that's it for this.
Way to go.
The sitar is funky. Hold on a second. I got to get up again. Wait a second. And I'll tell you this. Shit. I'll get this other thing right here because this is really. This is kind of the cool. This is, I mean, in my mind, this is the coolest one.
Yeah, this is one that Eric sent me a photograph of that.
I got the tech together for this like in 50 minutes before with the thing, but this
Okay.
is the coolest one.
Yeah.
And that's an
Do you
old-
know the year of that?
This is like this is not this is very early,
Yeah.
and it's got the Coke bottle deal.
Coke bottle headstock.
Yeah, and it's two bolt like they're like these guys all were.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, this is to me this is the coolest one. I don't get tempted, but sometimes when I see a real old one, because they're starting to get expensive, man. They're like these things. But I don't need another one. But when I see them, if I see one, like if I see sometimes occasionally you'll still see an amp in the case for like $550. Guitar amp in the case, an old one, occasionally. But at guitar shows, these things are like $1,300,
Yes, they are.
that's not fun.
I can actually confirm what you told me about the amp case. You can still, and $550 is literally what I paid for mine, and I found it on eBay.
Yeah.
And it was in good shape, but it was also a gamble for me to buy it from California and have it shipped. And find it in good shape. But it was at that low price point, and I think I told you I collected a few only to prove theory that you could find them readily at a good price if you knew what you were looking for and all that other stuff.
Yep.
I've already read. People like these things to be in circulation. I want you to congratulate me that I have already resold that one to a young man.
Oh, cool.
And I sold it to him exactly what I
good.
paid for it.
That's good.
Because what if I make $100? I didn't
Yeah.
do it for that reason.
Yeah.
I sold it to a young man. So way to go.
Yeah,
way to go, me.
Totally. Whatever.
No, I want to hear that one. Don't put it away.
Oh, okay.
Can you?
Sure.
I'd love to hear it. I
Okay.
know our listeners would love to hear it too because it's a specimen.
Yeah, it is. This one's a little. I bought this from this guy, and he just fuck. It was. Anyway, he kind of. This guy was like a friend of mine. He was like, "Oh, I just got the. It just came back from. I just had it set up. It just came back from the shop." And I was, and I guess he needed money or something. I was like, "All right." And so we agreed on a price. Then he gave the guitar to me, and the original knobs were gone from it. And like I knew the guitar for years.
Mm-hmm.
And he got it back he gave it to some kid, and some kid put some, I shouldn't say that, some kid, I say, somebody, whoever it was that like did him the favor of setting the guitar up, put like Bakelite knobs on it, took the original knobs off, and had it all set up crazy. I don't know if you can see the you can't see it, whatever, if I do it this way. And I'm like, dude, I don't want it. And if you can see how high, look at the leaning, see how the posts are leaning? And it wasn't like that before. And so this person did him the favor, and I'm like, I don't want, and he goes, well, I can get the knobs back. And I'm like, yeah, get the knobs back. I want the original knobs. Anyway, so this one's a little funky. The cool thing that I sent you, that this was used on the beginning of a Marat track that I sent you called Wild West Love Song.
That's
Which
right.
is, but this is cool. It's kind of got a little bit of, almost a little bit of Strat sound. That's amp breakup. I mean, the amp's breaking up. Yeah, my fingers hurt. It's like crazy to go from that baritone neck to this thing, because this is dinky. That's the breakup from the amp, but it's pretty cool sounding.
I love it.
I haven't touched this one in a while.
I remember taking pictures of it.
Well, there's a short in it, Emily. It's great.
You break it, you bought it.
Great to see pros work. Yeah, there's a short in there.
The tone of these instruments are so unique.
Yeah, this is really great.
Lipstick pickups and what is essentially a hollow body guitar with a little else in there is a unique sound. It suits itself. It's a very toneful construction. And
this is very, and it's super. It is actually very responsive. And there's like a little bit of a glassiness, but it's like not to my ears, but not at all. Not like parodying itself. It's really kind of honest.
lipstick pickups.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Ding.
totally. Neptune, New Jersey, right?
Yes, sir. That was another thing. I got to see Neptune and Asbury Park when I went on my road trip. And
Neptune's near Asbury Park, yeah?
yeah, they're right next to each other. And, do you play around there?
I've played. There's a club in some town there called the Saint, which I've played a bunch of times.
Yeah. They have an interest. They still have an interesting live music scene there.
God,
and
the place there, Springsteen, and what's that joint called there? There's a famous place in Asbury Park.
Yeah, it's Stone Pony.
Stone Pony, yeah.
But otherwise, we spent the day there, and I loved what I found in Neptune. They're right next to each other, like beach communities. They're like little townships, and they're all on top of each other.
Yeah,
I had a great trip.
Not too long ago, you get a house down there pretty cheap. I don't think so anymore.
I'd like to have one. They got some interesting historical properties there.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that you've got a recording session later on. I know that you have a busy day.
Oh, I got one in 2 minutes.
I've got to see. Will you show me the electric sitar real quick for my listeners, and then I'll cut you loose. I cannot thank you enough for your time today. I know you're so busy right now.
No, it's good.
And I appreciate it.
I hope that I kind of like part of this thing here is sort of like I didn't feel like I was talking to fill time, but I definitely was like zoning out sometimes. I don't know how that. We'll just see how that. We'll just see how that translates.
It's a great chat. I'm so excited. I had a blast doing it. I want the listeners to know that the sitar that's in his lap is not a vintage one. It's a new Dan Electro.
Pandemic,
Yeah,
$329 or whatever they sold them for.
A pandemic purchase,
Yeah.
and he's done some really cool things with it.
The 12 string actually that I got is also a Roscoe thing, because I was looking around for a Rickenbacker, and Roscoe said, "You got time to talk?" And I go, "Yeah." And he said, "Do not buy a Rickenbacker." He said, "Get a Dano." And I was like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he said, "Get a blend knob, buy it and get a blend knob put in it." And
It's the Swiss Army knife.
What it was a difference between like 2,000. I mean, I didn't really going to spend $2,000, but let's put it this way, it was a major savings. These things are hard for me.
He's so resourceful. We've talked about his resourcefulness.
Yeah. Well, here's the trick with the thing is to take the that was the I'm looking at this like it's a 12 string, because there's no E string on it. That's why I can't tune it. Okay.
Huh.
I keep on. There's no high E. It's the opposite of the Keith Richards. He has no low E. This has no high E. So much fun. One thing is, these are hard to hold, aren't they? I want to get the, they come with a thingy, right? Yeah, I want to get one of those guys. You have one.
Yes.
Is that original, or somebody make that for you?
This is a Jerry Jones reproduction.
Okay, so that was right.
And yes.
That's cheating, because I got the phaser on there because I just think it sounds cool.
It sounds so great.
I'm just making shit up, but anyway, it kind of sounds.
I love it.
It sort of sounds sitar-y.
It's such a unique tone. It's like these other instruments you showed me. What they do so well, and it's an instant funk.
I can't thank you enough for doing
I
this.
ran you right up to the second.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
I've got you 3 minutes over. I know you had a busy day today. This has been a blast. I knew it was going to be fun.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be fun too, and I didn't know I was going to get into history stuff, but I'm really happy to have done it, and I appreciate you inviting me to be on, and I appreciate you and what you're doing, and I have a lot of respect for your thing. It's
Thanks.
like you're not just you've done so much like actual real legwork,
Thank
work,
you.
learning about it, and you're like kind of like an authority at this point in a real way, and That's
This
not.
is my amateur journalistic
I know.
career.
It's some kind of crazy mission that you're on. I know. By the way, your dad's book is sitting by my damn mom, my mom's house upstate. But I got to get that one about what's the one he wrote about making a living with what is it? What's the one making money?
It's called How to Make Money Growing Trees. This is an editor's copy.
How to make money growing trees.
Yeah, he wrote the book on sustainable tree farming, and you can find one online, and it'll cost you a couple $100 because it's still the textbook.
Wow,
I haven't been passing these out for free.
No, not at all. I don't know whether these.
Yeah, he wrote the book on sustainable pine tree farming. So who's showing up today? What are you working on later?
I'm working with this. It's gonna be a situation. I'm working with a singer-songwriter trying to improve upon a vocal that I don't know if it's possible to improve upon. That's what I'm doing today. But, your humble servant.
Appreciate your service.
Yeah, humble servant.
Mr. Pool.
Hugh Pool. Your humble studio. There used to be this guy. He used to still alive. This guy would always impress me. This dude's name he lives around here, but he knows him. His name's Johnny Rosh, and he's a keyboard player. He was a keyboard player in the Blues Brothers, touring guy. Very, very experienced person. And when I met him, we became fast friends because, I don't have a lot of thing for pretension and stuff like that with it, right? It's it's not my favorite quality in people.
No bullshit.
Yeah, it's not my favorite quality in human beings. And it's a weakness of mine that I just kind of recoil. And I'm like, all right, good for you. And I just sort of fade and go somewhere else. But Johnny pulled out his business card. We'd have him some drinks and whatever. And he pulled out his business card. And it was done like a definition in Webster's dictionary. Mm-hmm. And it said Johnny Roush and then : musical manservant. And I just always remember, I kept the card for decades because I was like, right on, whatever you want, I got it.
I love it. Yeah. A calling card.
Yeah. All right, I think they're
Well, I cannot thank you enough for making time for me today. I'm so glad we finally got a chance to do this, but I'm kind of glad we didn't jump on it too early. It's been an interesting year for you, and that way I got to hear more about everything. So.
Yeah, cool.
And Thank you for your time. I'll be minimally editing this very quickly, and I'll be putting lots of things out there. Can't wait to
as he says at the end of Almost Famous. Just make me look cool.
I'll try. It's not hard to make Hugh Pool look cool. I've seen him in person, folks. All right. Thank you, Hugh Pool. Thank you from the Lipstick Pickup Podcast. I'll let you go.
Thanks,
Emily.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. You do
Bye.
the same.
If you hear excellent tone and the sound of birds chirping, it means you've made it through an entire episode of the Lipstick Pickup Podcast. You're as free as a bird now, but I hope you'll join me again soon. Comments or questions? I can be reached at emily@thelipstickpickup.com.